If I would have had Anarchy AUDIOWORX when I was still in nappies, I'd be a gazillionaire by now.
Don't tell you I'm not average. Spread butter on a boy like a sandwich. LB on a musical rampage. Been a response for collateral damage. Seven no response for the weekend producer.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the laboratory, and as you can see, my cartoon face is emblazoned upon your screen. Reason why I'm not using a webcam is because it is hot. Like a oven baking for 2,000 years. And I'm half naked, and that's not really a pretty sight. Anyway, enough of my biological formation right about now. So what we're going to do, we are going to bring my Cubase project into this right here. Okay, and the instrument or the plugin or whatever you want to call it I want to talk about today goes by the name of Pattern Strings, and it's one of a suite of plugins basically made by a gentleman called Ben Osterhouse. Now, I heard his name ringing through a lot of plugin websites like Plugin Boutique and also VST Buzz and audio plugin deals. His name, and Loot Audio as well, his name has been ringing. Anyway, I love using strings, but the problem that I have with strings is that a lot of strings seem to be leaned towards the orchestral strings, which I love my orchestral music, but I'm no Hans Zimmer. I don't want my music to sound that cinematic when I'm basically making reggae and hip hop and R&B, lovers rock and that kind of style. Although projects are kind of open to having that orchestral treatment, but for the most part, I want it to have an option to lean to the orchestral, but I want to keep the strings intimate as possible. And there's not really a lot of stringed instrument plugins that I've seen of late that gives me that, until I bucked up on Pattern Strings, and that piqued my interest like for a good few months. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna get it once it goes on sale. And it went on sale and I bought it, and I am very pleased of that purchase. Now, the thing about Ben Osterhouse, right, he's very passionate in basically building instruments based upon bass, viola, violins and cello, and he tries and makes it very simple. It's like he does all the hard work so you don't have to, and you can formulate whatever melodies, whatever phrasings you basically want, as much or as little flavor as you want in your musical compositions, and I think he's done that pretty well. Anyway, enough of me talking and spewing and gushing about Ben Osterhouse and Pattern Strings. I want to show you this in action. All right, so if we go into the interface, all right, you'll see it right here. Okay, so this is basically the interface, and just to give you a quick tour of it, so we're going to go from left to right, top to bottom. Right, so at the top left you see the volume button, you also see the pan button, which is basically self-explanatory, and you have stringed instrument sections, and you can use a combination of 1, 2, 3 or all 4, all right, at any one time within the pattern that you're going to basically use it on. Okay, right, so next to there you can take it down an octave and up an octave. All right, so if you hover over the map button, it actually tells you at the bottom, it says to click this button, then play one of the colored key switches at the very bottom of the keyboard in order to map the current pattern to that note. If you want to get rid of a mapping, you can map an empty pattern. Mappings are saved with snapshots. So if you go down at the bottom here, you can see that there are yellow keys and green keys, basically making up 10 patterns. And as you can see by the coloration of the patterns, you can tell right there. Okay, so there's pattern 1 and there's pattern 2 separated into green and yellow. All right, and yep, the mapping we already covered. The random is pretty much basically what that is. You can more or less randomize the notation of the pattern that you basically want, and clear is to actually clear the entire thing. Now, one of the unique things about this plugin that I absolutely love, which I think was the deal maker for me, was the rhythm select drag and drop feature. You know, I think a lot of plugins are getting into this vibe where you just want to just create, drag it, drop it, done, simple. Basically, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You've got 19 patterns, but I've purposely missed one out, which is this one here, which I know I can't explain what the official wording is, but this basically means a rest. It's a rest portion of the pattern. I do know that for sure. But I'll tell you from now, I don't know the difference between a minim and a crotchet. All I know is what I visually see and what I hear, and how what I hear is associated with what I see. So if there's anybody who knows music theory that's going to be shouting at the screen, I can't help you, man. I just know what I know, all right? For a lot of people, it's going to be very intuitive if you don't know music theory as well. So literally, you can just basically take up one of these sections and just drag it up, and it's there. It actually starts featuring the keys you can basically play in correspondence to the instrument that you're playing as well. So not only can you just have bass playing the notes, you can have the cello, the viola and the violin. As you notice, when you press on all the rest of them, the key range basically expands as well, because obviously the violin are the more higher pitched instruments, the viola are the lesser higher pitched, cello and bass, etc, etc. So you're kind of moving from right to left, from the violin to the bass, and you're moving from left to right, from the bass to the violin. Okay, it is synced to the tempo of your song as well, which is a great thing. Just to give you some examples as to what this thing can do, I'm just gonna basically just play the chords that I've already got programmed here, because if I don't use any of these, all right, come out of there and literally just play the pattern string track, you're not going to hear anything. Reason being is because it's not assigned, the chords are not assigned to any instrument within the plugin itself, even though the MIDI notes are basically there. It consists of long sustained chords with a passing note in between. All right, so as you can not hear, there's no signal coming out of that. All right, now if I go into the plugin and assign, let's just say we use that and we use that. I mean, we can use literally 4 steps basically for a bar, and all I need to do is literally just play a chord. I'll play a C major triad just to make it easy, which goes like this. And that's pretty much what it does. You can actually switch the order as well. So you can basically take that. Oops, sorry, my bad. Let's take that again, put it up there. So I can literally move it and change the order of the notation if I want to. And it will sound something like this. That's pretty much it. So you've got a whole suite of notations to basically work with, plus you got the rest. So you don't really have to use 4 notations. You could just basically use, for the bass section, you can literally just use just these 2, and you can go further down on the keyboard. Let's just see if I can play this, the low C. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically just change the notes within the notation, if that makes any sense, just to give you an idea of what I can do. So I've got this. One thing I have to say about Ben Osterhouse, he really is meticulous as to how he records his strings. I've watched his YouTube videos and I'm just enchanted at the way he's just so meticulous in the way it needs to sound. So he needs to record it in such a skilled, crafted fashion. So, you know, he's more or less doing all of the donkey work, so we don't have to. Wonderful job he's done. Okay, so not only can I play in notes, I can play in chords, as you just basically heard there. And the good thing about it as well is that it's very CPU light as well. So if you want to basically utilize all 4 of the instruments, normally with certain cinematic instruments, if you just put like 2 together, it's like it's just eating up your CPU. But as you can see, it's literally only 104.5 megs for all those instruments basically lumped into the one pattern. So that's a very good thing as well. It's very robust in that sense. I got this button, the double, mixed up with the tempo sync. If this has been recorded at 90 and you want it to sound a bit more faster, for your faster paced composition, you literally just go from 1 to double. Let me see how that sounds. Okay, go back to 1. Right, try again. Okay, and we take it down to half and it sounds like this. So it's a very pliable plugin to utilize no matter what the speed of your composition is. All right, and the good thing about it is that you can actually record in sections. So you can literally just have a bass section just going, and then if you want to, you can basically put another instance of pattern strings up. So let's just say this is another instance of pattern strings. Okay, so what we can do now, we can actually just take those off. All right, and basically use those. Okay, let's try and see how that sounds, or hear how that sounds. Oh my gosh, absolutely lush, absolutely lush. So you can imagine if you had like around 5 instances of pattern strings on your project. You got one instance basically just dealing with the bass alone, and then you got one section of the cello, the viola and the violins, and they're all playing different notations, different patterns within the same piece. That is pretty much as orchestral as I need to be. It's very, I don't know what I think it's ostinado, I think that's the term, but I like the intimacy of the sounds of the strings. This was basically the string section that I was really hunting for, because there's a lot of cinematical string sections out there, but they're just too big in scale. I'm not saying it's not my bag, but it's not really what I need at this point in time. So anyway, going back to the plugin. So like I'm saying, it's a very robust bit of kit. Press legato, right? So that just enables you just to play any other new notes outside of the chords or the note that's basically featuring the pattern. So for example, so if I'm just playing, okay, so I can use legato to add another note. Okay, and auto release basically end at the end of a rhythm. So if you press auto release, I think it will just end, it won't repeat. And clear all mappings is basically just clear all the mappings of the patterns that you've edited in the plugin itself. I mean, other than that, there's nothing really else I can tell you about this plugin except to just try and feature this in a beat of some kind. So let's just clear all of this. Okay, so we're back to where we started. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start a little something utilizing a loop that I got from Cubase, which is pretty much this, what I've got here. Right, which is sounding a bit rough, so I needed to tone that down. So what I did, I use the dirty filter, yay. Right, so here we go. And here it is, courtesy of Bedroom Producers blog. It is absolutely free. If you check it out on their website, which is located down here, bedroomproducersblog.com, you can get this for absolutely free. All right, and not only that, they have their saturator as well, which looks something like this. Very simple looking plugins, but they do the job that they need to basically do. All right, so I didn't use the saturator on this occasion. I just used the dirty filter, So it basically started from a sound like this to a sound like this. Okay, so we got that. So on top of that, I decided to put Groove Agent on top of that. I just created a loop of sorts to kind of go over it, and it goes a little something like this. And all I got on that is Reverb Solo. All right, another plugin you can get for absolutely free. All right, so let me just bypass that and show you what I've got here. Okay, put it in now. Okay, so we got that. All right, so I'm going into pattern strings now. Okay, so I'm going to basically use this and that. And that's all I really need, to be honest with you. Okay, so let's just hear how that sounds. Okay, so that's pretty much that. All right, so what I want to do now, I think I'm going to put a B line on it, and you know my go-to bass. You know the go-to bass I've got to basically, pardon the pun, go for, which is the Martinique key bass. But I tell you, that bass there round. Okay, right. So the key, where is it? Key bass. Okay, add that track. Okay. Okay, so we've got that. Right, so let's see what we can make out of this. All right. let's see how that sounds. I think there's a bum note there somewhere, but hey, you know, it's not for release. It's just to kind of give a little flavor on top of the pattern strings, which is literally playing at a minimum. But my goodness, can you imagine just putting a whole chamber section on that, man? Put the extra notes down here. Okay, right, let's say that. Right, let's merge that in there. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much more to really add at this point in time. Just to, you know, sketch out a beat, sketch out a vibe. That note is gonna bug me. Let me sort that note out right now. That's the one. Where is it? Okay. Grid. There a bit. Right, okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so that's pretty much that as a sketch beat. I don't really like putting too much on top because I really am a firm believer in the less is more school, especially when you're writing compositions. You need space so that anyone who's putting vocals on there can have a thought process and align his or her mood to the actual piece. You know what I'm saying? Rather than make a beat with so much on it that the person can't even breathe. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's listen to that. My little jam, my little beat alongside Pattern Strings, which I do believe is still on sale. I will give you a link in the description box below. At the time of posting, it's still on sale, and you better go and grab it real fast. All right? Pattern Strings by Ben Osterhouse. Back to the studio. Anarchy AUDIOWORX are proud to present their new line of 6 VST plugins available now. Vocalator Pro, Anarchy Comp, LFO Pro, Pulsar, Beef, and Duplex, in addition to the recently released Synth Essentials, all at a heavily discounted price. And as an extra incentive, further discounts have been added on top of the current discounts. By using the discount codes in the description box below, you will get a one-time only additional 20% off the sale price currently advertised. Not only that, but the huge discount bundle on offer where you can save £290 with the total Anarchy bundle. You can get all of their plugins and more for one crazy low price of £180. That's a huge saving of £290 from the original price of £470 if all plugins and samples were bought separately. That's not including the 20% discount you can get on top if you use my discount code at checkout. And there's more. If you join the Facebook AUDIOWORX family group, you can get 1 GB of free samples. The AUDIOWORX family is a community for music producers, composers, musicians, and artists from all genres to gain and share knowledge, network, and discuss all things music creation, where you can find the best deals on VST plugins, sample libraries, software, studio equipment, musical instruments, and other helpful music production resources. In addition to that, there are also regular free giveaways and early access releases exclusive to the group members for sample packs, Kontakt libraries, DAW templates, effects, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Check out anarchyaudioworks.com for their brand new selection of plugins and so much more besides. Anarchy AUDIOWORX.